Hey everybody, and welcome back. If you've been on this channel for any period of time within the past month to month and a half, you know I've been excited for the new adaptation of Stephen King's It, and ever since the film came out, I can't stop singing this film's praises. I think it's fantastic. It blends coming of age with horror very seamlessly, but that's not really the topic of this video. One of the bigger reasons why I enjoyed it so much is because I believe it is one of the best adaptations we've ever gotten out of Hollywood. And that is today's topic, and so right up front, I'm just going to issue a spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it and you want to, and I highly recommend that you do see it, I suggest you turn off the video now. For everybody else, let's begin. Now, as far as what is missing, right up front, there are many scenes, many parts of the book that do not take place in this movie. One of the biggest things, I guess one of the biggest issues I had with the movie is the fact that Eddie Kaspbrak's discovery and curiosity about his sexuality was such a major part of the book that is nowhere found in this movie. A lot of the horrific scares that were also found in the book are not in this movie, like the scene where Eddie Corcoran has his head popped off like a dandelion. And many of the news outlets about how many of the other kids are missing. There are quite a few things from the book that are not in this film. Understandably, because of time constraints and budget, they couldn't fit everything from the book into this movie. But the biggest question here is, if there are so many aspects and so many parts of the book that are missing, why on earth is it such a great adaptation? And understandably, I know there are a few people who are very upset that the scare factor, the fear factor of this movie wasn't exactly up to snuff with what Stephen King did with his original novel. But honestly, thinking about it and watching this movie a second time, that doesn't necessarily bother me. Because although the fear factor and the scare factor wasn't in the movie, I feel as though the film captured the themes and the overall importance of what Stephen King was trying to say in his book. Stephen King has come out and said many times that it, in essence, is a book about coming of age, about going from childhood into adulthood, and about imagination. And honestly, those aspects of the book, in my opinion, were captured flawlessly throughout the film. Because in this new 2017 adaptation, besides the whole bullying thing with Henry Bowers and his group of cronies, you also have everything that every member of the Losers Club has to deal with in their home lives. Beverly Marsh with her father, Eddie Kaspbrak with her mother. And with every single one of these situations, seeing these kids going through these horrific, traumatizing events, you start to begin that these kids are learning not only how to become adults, but they're learning how to solve their own life issues, their own life problems. And when confronted with something that nobody in the town else believes except for them, in Pennywise the Dancing Clown, it just shows you that it not only gives you an underdog story, but it also shows you that these kids have finally figured out that there is some stuff that they will inevitably have to take care of on their own. So in that, although there were many scares and many scenes from the book that did not make it into this 2017 adaptation, and the fear factor, the scare factor, was pretty much non-existent. Whole themes of coming of age and losing our childlike imagination and trying to figure stuff out on our own made it into the final product. And those themes, those particular themes from Stephen King's It, were really the baseline of everything that happened in the story. And the last thing that makes this film so great, in my opinion, and one of the best adaptations, is that it took all of the uncomfortable material that Stephen King talked about in the children's side of the story, with the bullying, with the domestic abuse, with the poor home lives, with feeling like you're an outsider, feeling like you just don't belong, and put it up onto the big screen. Many of these subjects just aren't comfortable for people to talk about, but it's important that everybody knows about it. And the great thing about Stephen King's writing is he puts it right in your face, and his writing states that we need to know about this subject matter because it will help us create a better society so we can prevent this stuff. While this film may not contain everything from the book, it certainly contains every theme that the book was trying to say and the lessons that Stephen King was trying to teach. Guys, that's about all I have to say in this video about what I think of this adaptation. It is one of the best in my opinion. I will keep saying that because of what it means and what it teaches. What Stephen King teaches. What we can learn from it. And every time I think about this movie, it just keeps getting better. But as always, guys, it is what you say that matters. So I want to know what your thoughts are on it. And as far as a book to movie adaptation, what do you think about it and how well do you think it did? Leave a comment down below so I can know what you're thinking and so we can start a conversation. And if you like what you've heard here and you want to hear and see more, click right there and subscribe and become part of the fray of nerds who love cinema. You all have a fantastic day.